Hi there, Dr. Carmen McGuinness here with you. So today I'm going to talk about the survivors of 3 narcissistic relationships, what they learned, and what they'd like me to share with you today. Hi there, Dr. Carmen McGuinness back with you. So yes, today we're going to talk about survivors. We're going to talk about the triumph over very bad relationships with not very pleasant people. Narcissists in all 3 cases for sure. And each of these individuals has answered several questions that I've presented them with. Each was invited to present their answers on video, and each declined for very different reasons. In 2 cases, it has to do with children, either their own children or children of the individual that they were associated with. None of them wants to harm those children, which is understandable. And the third just really does not want to speak on video, and that's a private decision. So I hope I've done a good job here today in presenting what it is that they wish to say, and I will share that with you now. I'd like to open to say thank you, a very sincere thank you to all 3 of the participants in these interviews. Each of you has not only learned, but also taught me something as a therapist, as a friend, and as a human being, and as a survivor of narcissistic relationships. Each of you has grown and changed and is so open and willing to share what you've learned with the rest of us. So, with that said, I sincerely hope that I do a good job of presenting your words sincerely and with honesty and with the depth that they were intended in this video here today. The first contributor is Danielle, a 36-year-old woman, successful banker, and mother of 2 beautiful children. Divorced after a 7-year marriage to a man that she described as distant but demanding. She answered the questions regarding this man, this relationship, as follows. Did you see warning signs when you first met him? Danielle's answer was, yes, it seemed too good to be true. His attention was so strong and persistent that I wondered how I would manage everything with him in my life. My kids were pretty young when we met, and my career was just taking off. Next question. How did you react? Telling others how you reacted might help them. Her answer. I was nervous, but I ignored the warning signs. I kind of knew it couldn't last. It was so good. But that was before I knew about narcissists, so I didn't suspect any malintent. I just thought he'd become less attentive eventually. Third question. What woke you up? Answer. Getting married. As soon as we tied the knot, he became his own person. He didn't seem to need my company anymore or the attention that previously he had craved. But he was still demanding in other ways. Dinner had to be special and served at a certain time. The kids had to be well behaved. These were Danielle's kids. And quiet. Their friends were never allowed over. Next question. How long did it take for you to respond after you woke up? Her answer. It got progressively worse, with occasional good times in between. I realize now that he was attentive to me between the other women that he was seeing. Next question. Did you go back, and why? What story did he tell you, or did you tell yourself? Her answer. I went back to him once after we'd separated. He brought me flowers and said the girl he'd been seeing was nuts, not kind like me. They'd had a terrible fight and she'd hit him. His face was swollen and red and later became a bruise. I felt very bad for him. I took him in, and then of course he went back with her a week later. And now, 7 months later, he's with someone else. Danielle goes on to say, what story did I tell myself that caused me to take him back? I guess I convinced myself that he'd strayed because I hadn't given him enough attention. I realize now that there's not enough attention in all the world to make a narcissist happy. I know so much more now than I knew then. Next question. What was the main thing, the glue, that kept you trapped? Danielle's answer. Definitely the desire to save him, from himself, I mean. Next question. How long till it got better? How long until you felt better? Danielle's answer. Only a few months. I think I got over it faster because I'd done everything I could to save the relationship. Taking him back was painful, but I'm glad I did it. It made everything very clear. I just regret that I wasted almost 8 years of my life on him. Next question. What do you look for in a partner now? Danielle's answer. Honestly, I don't. I can't imagine trusting someone again. I suppose I will eventually, maybe when the kids are older. Then I guess I'll look for the opposite of him. Calm, reserved, not jumping into things. Next question. What advice would you give others? Danielle's answer. Trust your gut. If you feel it's too good to be true, it probably is. Next and last question for Danielle. What would you say to the narcissist if you could speak directly to his soul? Danielle's answer. I used to talk to him a lot in my mind. Tell him how he was ruining his life, losing the best thing that ever happened to him. Now I guess it would be less personal. I would tell him to think of what his future will look like without real commitments. Old age is gonna suck. Clearly, these are difficult questions and difficult to read the answers that I received. The next respondent is Richard, a 57-year-old contractor and father of 2 adult children. Richard was with Trish, let me check my facts here, for 4 years after his wife Sarah died of a sudden heart attack. First question for Richard. Did you see warning signs when you met her? Richard's answer. No, I thought she was perfect. Everything seemed fated and right. She was good at everything that matters to me. A great mother to her son, a great cook, a great friend. She liked to cycle and kayak, as I did. Next question. How did you react? Telling others how you reacted to her might help them. And what woke you up? Richard's answer. She became a total bitch after we moved in together. I sold the house I'd lived in with my wife. That was a difficult decision with me. She had said that it had her energy, my wife's energy in it, and she wanted to start fresh. So I sold it. We built a new home on the lake. We had everything. But she was clearly miserable. Nothing, I mean nothing, that I could do was good enough to make Trish, happy. Next question for Richard. How long did it take for you to respond after you woke up, and what did you do? Richard's answer. I probably would have kept trying to please her forever if she hadn't actually just moved out. That was 6 months ago, and I filed for divorce 2 months later, when I found out she was living with an ex-boyfriend in Denver. So I guess the answer is, now that it's over, I've given up. The next question for Richard. Did you go back, and why? And what story did you tell yourself, or did she tell you, that caused you to go back? Richard's answer. We didn't actually go back, but I did text with her often and spoke twice on the phone. She said it was going badly with her ex-boyfriend and didn't know why she'd left me. I guess I felt good that she seemed to miss me, but then nothing happened. She stopped writing for a few days, and I imagined them making love. I'm sure they were. This was a really hard time for me. Then she started texting again. It was a hard time. I made it harder on myself by playing that game with her. Her game. Next question for Richard. What was the main thing, the glue, that kept you trapped? Richard's answer. The fact that everything had been so perfect for over a year. Kept me trying to get back to that perfect time for 3 years. I realize now that the love bombing phase is like a drug. Next question for Richard. How long until it got better for you? How long until you felt better? Richard's answer. I never did. I was a mess for a while. But when I got the final divorce papers, I started to feel better. Just not happy like before. I used to be a happy guy. Now I'm just kind of numb. Next question for Richard. What do you look for in a partner now? Richard's answer. I definitely see myself with someone in the future, but I don't trust myself anymore. When I met Trish, we were isolated. She wasn't close to any of my friends or my sister, so we just did our own thing. Next time, I'll rely more on their opinions. These are my words. Don't let yourself get isolated. That's one of the tricks that the narcissist pulls. Next question for Richard. What advice would you give others? Richard's answer. Take a long time to get to know someone before you change your life for them. Also, don't get too attached to their kids if they have kids. I still worry about Trish's son. Next question for Richard. What would you say to the narcissist if you could speak directly to her soul? Richard's answer, be honest. If you're shallow, don't pretend to commit to others. Wow. And here's my last interview. Sorry, I need a sip of my drink. These are hard. These are the questions and answers for Holly, a 54-year-old woman, a successful professional and mother. She was in an on and off again relationship with Eric for 2 years. Question. Did you see warning signs when you first met him? Holly's answer. Yes, definitely. It felt like a roller coaster ride of emotions almost immediately. Next question for Holly. How did you react? Telling others might help them. Holly's answer. I started addressing that roller coaster within the first week of the love bombing because it felt bad. Now this is interesting. These are my words because so many people say that it felt good, but For Holly, it felt bad. She goes on to say, we had a lot of talks about it, but it never changed, the behavior. During the first 2 years, it seemed like he just started learning more and more of what I wanted to hear in any given situation and acted accordingly. However, it never really helped me feel secure in our relationship. So I want to just take a break here and say that clearly if this made Holly feel bad, she had a deep knowing that it wasn't sincere. Next question for Holly. What woke you up? Her answer. What woke me up was your video, The Enlightened Narcissist. Thank you, Holly, for the plug, and I will certainly put a link to it here. Next question for Holly. How long did it take for you to respond after you woke up? Holly's answer. I acted immediately and cut off all communication. Next question for Holly. Did you go back, and why? What story did he tell you, or did you tell yourself, that caused you to go back? Holly's answer. Within 6 months, I was back in all the way, more so than before. He wanted to make a commitment, so I was all in. However, his commitment was on a week-to-week basis. Those were his terms, his words. I just went back to hoping that his week-to-week was not for real, that he didn't mean it. We lasted 11 weeks before he gave me the, I can't do this anymore, let's just be friends talk. That was a very low plane. Next question for Holly. What was the main thing, the glue, that kept you trapped? Holly's answer. The glue that kept me was him making me feel like I was the most important person in his life, even though he was still seeing many other people at the time. Additionally, the sex kept getting better. Next question for Holly. How long till you got better? How long until you felt better? Holly's answer. It took about 4 months to recover, with 2 straight months of no contact and not replying to any of his requests to talk and bury the hatchet, so that we could continue to be lifers, friends for life. Next question for Holly. What do you look for in a partner now? Holly's answer. Now I look for honesty and vulnerability, with a lot less adrenaline highs on my end. Simple may seem a little dull, however, much more satisfying in the long run. And the next answer. What would be your advice to others? Holly's answer. Watch for all the red flags. They are all there, almost immediately. Listen to your gut. It knows. Next question for Holly. What would you say to the narcissist if you could speak directly to his soul? Holly's answer. I forgive you because I can feel your pain. I just can't help you any longer. Clearly, these are 3 powerful people with very powerful answers, very powerful lessons, all very different, but each very important. Again, I cannot thank you enough for sharing this with us. Perhaps someday I'll have you on video to actually say these words or similar words, or maybe the where are you today video. Maybe we can do that at some point in the future. But again, thank you so much. And to my viewers, I sincerely hope that this has been helpful and that you on your journey are able to answer these same questions that I presented for these 3 amazing survivors. Thank you. I look forward to seeing you this Wednesday for my midweek sneak peek. Until then, have a wonderful week. See you soon.